Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Positive Girl podcast with me, Sabrina. This is the show that helps you become your best self, and today we are talking about taking responsibility for your emotions. But before we jump into that, as always, I want to invite you to come say hi to me on social media. I am at Sabrina Joy Perozzo on both TikTok and Instagram. I would love to say hi to you and just chit chat and become friends online. You are also welcome to send me an email with any questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests, feedback, topic suggestions, whatever you would like. Or again, just to become friends online, that is realpositivegirlpodcast@gmail.com. That information is available for you down in the show notes below, as well as signing up for the weekly newsletter that I haven't sent out in 2 weeks. I'm just being honest and vulnerable here. I have not made the time for it. And honestly, I think that I need to find a better way to do that because I don't want you guys to enjoy that and then it's not there. So anyway, you can still sign up for that. There's also a spot for you to submit an anonymous venting session. So if you don't have anyone that you feel comfortable and safe venting what you're going through, or there's no one in your life that's emotionally available for that, you're able to submit your event through an anonymous form that is down there, as well as submit topic suggestions to the show anonymously through a form as well. So you don't have to feel like you need to tell me things directly. You can just be anonymous, and I'm totally cool with that. But so anyway, you can check the show notes out below with everything else that is available. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode, which is, again, taking responsibility for your emotions. One of the hot topics in my house is how you get to choose how you feel. Like, I'm not kidding. It's something that it comes up more often than not, especially lately, especially since, our kid is getting older and, all of us are really stepping into our awakening of bettering our mental health and mindset. So it's brought up a lot. My family is sick of me bringing this up, though. When someone mentions that this or that is making them feel a certain way, it's like I am on patrol for when people say that. I have no chill at all, and will remind them as nicely as I can and not being condescending that they get to choose how they feel. They get to choose how they feel. I would say rarely am I thanked for this reminder, but they get it. They understand, and that's really the point. I don't need the pat on the back. But yeah, it comes up so often. But it's important, right? It's important. But it's also tough. It's also tough, right? It feels like people and situations and circumstances are the ones to blame for us feeling angry or upset or disappointed, annoyed, sad, or whatever emotion you end up feeling based upon what's happening, right? And even after reflecting back on what happened and who was involved and how, you ended up feeling, it still feels like it's someone else's fault for the way that you feel, right? It just feels like, no, how could this possibly be on me? How could I possibly be responsible for being really upset right now? I didn't do anything. These things just happened to me. They came at me. The world is against me. These kind of mindsets. But it's not. It's not. It's totally up to us. We get to choose how we feel. We really do. And I'm sure that maybe the way that you're feeling right now is exactly the way my family feels when I remind them of that. I would say every 2 or 3 days that it pops up. And it's funny though, because me reminding them, and maybe this could help you if you want to lock that in your brain of me reminding you that you are responsible for your feelings. It's like I will get halfway through my little spiel to them and they're like, okay, I know what you're saying. I know what you're about to say. And then they say it. And then it's like, okay, great. I'm glad that the reminder worked. But it's not fun. No. And I'm definitely not saying that it's easy to choose to not be offended or upset or angry or whatever, whatever the emotion is that you are wanting to feel. It's not easy to choose not to feel that thing, right? And I'm not saying don't feel anything at all. We'll get more into that later, but it's not easy to choose to not go with the feeling that's just ready and wants to just the first one up out the gate in your mind. It's not. And I'll even admit I fail at this often, But the reason why you are feeling the way you are is not because of someone else or what happened. That's not the reason. It feels like the reason. I will admit that it feels like the reason. It's not the reason. It's because you decided that's how you should or you deserve to feel in the situation and or have been trained to react that way to that type of situation. So, this is like multiple parts here, right? So you've decided that you should react this way because of the past experiences, or it just feels right, or you deserve to feel this way, which I feel like deserve goes more with like feelings of being upset or feel like it's more of an entitlement kind of idea of like, I deserve to feel this way. But then also you move into maybe you feel like you've been trained to react this way. And that could be just like you growing up and your parents or whoever your guardian was that was looking after you would teach you that this is the way that you need to react and respond in certain situations. Or maybe at some point in your life, someone just told you that you are not doing what you should, and this is the best way to go about it, and it wasn't actually the most healthiest choice. I mean, regardless of how it has come up, it's important to understand that it's something that we need to change in our mindsets. Our belief system has to change with knowing that we are responsible for our own feelings. And again, I know it's not easy, but it's necessary, right? And a lot of things in life aren't easy, but they're necessary. And so we have to figure it out. And accepting this truth can be really difficult. Like it really, really can. And, it's because it can feel like life is happening to us, meaning we are the victim to the experience, right? So it just feels like people are saying mean things to us and attacking us, and these struggles and problems are popping out of nowhere to like take us down and not allow us to pursue the goals and dreams and aspirations that we had set out to do, and this, that, and the other. So it just feels like life is happening to us as opposed to we are like in it and we are here making decisions and we are fully immersed in the experience. But it's really easy to just lean into that victim mentality. I tell you what, it is, because it's just like you don't have to do much. You can just be like, oh, woe is me, right? And I'm not saying that we're all struggling with this victim mentality. It's just, it's really common for everyone to struggle with it just a little bit, just to be honest. So it's totally fine. I'm not trying to tell you that shame should be involved here. Absolutely not. It's just some of us deal with it more heavily than others. And it's important to be able to call that out and recognize whether you are struggling with having that victim mentality and mindset or not. But it's important to know that we don't have to be a victim if we don't want to. I know that maybe we are used to being around people that have that mentality. It seems like the thing that we're supposed to do, like they're modeling this behavior and mindset. And it's like, or you grew up with that and that was just what's ingrained in you. And you're like, but no, this is the way to be. This is how everyone is. And it's like, it's actually not true. They just chose the easy way out, right? We can choose to not let things bother us as much as we would like. We can. We can. Even when I tell myself that when I want to be bothered, I'm just like, okay, I don't have to choose this. I don't have to choose to be bothered. We can choose to be a little more unbothered by the way people treat us, right? And we can choose to accept the truth that we are in control of our feelings as a good thing, because it means we have the ability and understanding to not let those things control us, which is something also, hopefully, like I was trying to find a way to make this a little bit better, more reasonable, not reasonable. No, that's not the word I want. Just maybe easier to digest the fact that it sounds harsh to be like, you are responsible for your feelings. So if you decide to feel this certain way, that is on you and not someone else. But in thinking about, yes, we are responsible for our own feelings and emotions, it's important that we, are excited about that. Maybe excited's a little too much, but that we find that as a good thing, because it means that we don't have to be held like under control by these things that are happening in our lives. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We want to make sure that we aren't feeling oppressed and like we're being forced to do this, that, and the other. And I feel like that's a positive thing to grasp onto. Hopefully that will help you as well. One of the best things about accepting that we are in control of our emotions is knowing we can manage those emotions to benefit us best. Like, right? So how can doing that serve us best? And when we are able to understand how we're feeling and what may have triggered us to have that response, and just so you know, triggering isn't assigning blame to something, it's literally just identifying something that caused that response or reaction to us, that triggered it to all start. Right? So when we are able to understand how we're feeling and what may have triggered us to have that response and then decide how to move forward from there, we can have like healthier relationships, whether it's friendships or family or partners. We can also have better communication with others, which is super important. I feel like communication is one of the most important things we could have. And it's one of the things we lack the most and we don't even realize it, right? Even more so when we're not in person and we're having communication with people over the internet. My goodness, it is kind of like a dumpster fire a lot of the times. So, but yeah, having better communication, stronger ability to bounce back from problems and setbacks, all of these things are like absolutely fantastic. So when we know that we are in control of our emotions and we get to decide what's going to happen next, we're better able to manage these situations and so much more in our life that I feel like we'll end up with less drama, right? So instead of being like, am I the drama? It's like, not as much, not as much. So you're going to be better equipped to leading a more emotionally balanced life, which is really important. Because again, I'm not saying that you're not going to feel anything or you're going to feel it all the time. There's going to be a healthy balance of how and how much and when and what and detailed into that. So today, I want to share with you how to take responsibility for your emotions. I just have like 5 tips to share with you to give you an idea of how to start doing that if that's not something that you are currently doing, or maybe you feel like you are trying to currently do that, but you're not sure if it's working the best that it could. And before I get into the tips, as always, I want to let you know that all of this is based on my own knowledge and research and experiences and other people's experiences that I'm able to share. And if you feel like these tips will not help you, please talk to a therapist or a counselor to help you better understand what you should do to take responsibility for your emotions, or go to our best friend, which is Google, and type in how to take responsibility for your emotions, and maybe the search results there will help you better understand what you need to do. Okay, so we have five tips. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So the first one is to honor and understand what you're feeling. So acceptance, which is honoring your feelings, is always the name of the game. Absolutely. It's also the first part of handling almost anything related to mental health and mindset. So it's important for you to honor and accept that you are having these emotions and that it's okay, perfectly acceptable, very natural, very healthy. And don't try to just like negate the fact that you're not feeling anything. That is not what we are going for. We're going for a more balanced outlook and use of our emotions. So along with honoring and accepting, you can't take proper ownership or responsibility for your emotions if you don't understand what you're feeling. So you have to understand what you're feeling. It's important. I know a lot of people don't want to do this because I've had people in my life be like, I don't speak emotions. I don't understand emotions. I don't have emotions. I'm a robot. And I know that people are joking when they say that, but then they feel like, but they're not, because they don't pick up on social cues and they don't understand like how appropriate social behavior is. And they're very black and white thinking. It's like either all or nothing, one way or the other. There's not like very many shades of gray. And it's difficult for them to be vulnerable and be kind and all of this, like all the nuances of, interacting with other people. Some people just don't have that right off the bat and they have to like develop it. And this can be extremely difficult for people to realize that they need to work on this if most of their life, up until the point where someone calls them out on it, if other people in their life are just enabling the way that they're behaving. And I've experienced that as well. I'm sure many of us have, where those people just been enabled most of their life, and then all of a sudden people are calling them out for it, and they're like, I don't understand what you're talking about. What? Why do I have to learn about emotions? This doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem necessary. When in reality, and actually I found that a lot of those type of people are actually more emotional than some others that I know. They just don't realize it. They don't see it like that. It's not like it's not categorized like that in their brain, which I find very, very fascinating. But anyway, it's important for you to understand your emotions, because the better that you understand that in yourself, just in general, with understanding yourself and self-awareness, you are better able to accomplish your goals and move forward in life and tackle struggles and problems and be able to persevere and not let things hold you back, because you understand the inner workings of your mind and your body and your thought process and all of these things. So that's why one of my biggest things is like self-understanding, and you have to dig into what's in your mindset and what's in your beliefs and the values that you have and the emotions that you have. So take the time to, understand not only the surface level emotion that you're feeling, but the root cause. And this might be like, well, Sabrina, how in the heck would I do that? There is the most handy dandy mindset, mental health resource on the internet. You can look it up for free. It's called an emotion wheel. Emotion wheel. If you type that into any search engine on the internet, it will pop up so many images. Now, just know that every single one that you see online, all of them are a little bit different. The basic layout of an emotion wheel is and sometimes you can find it in more of like a list format too. It's basically the same as long as it just starts with one of the 6 main emotions, which is usually like anger, happiness. Actually, I think it's like anger and joy and sadness and something like that. Like I I really should have written them down to know exactly like all 6 of of the ones that are in there. I absolutely apologize. So it could be like anger. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like anger, sadness, joy, fear, feeling surprised. And anyway, there are 6 core emotions in the middle of the wheel. And then there is a wheel that encompasses that one, like goes like one level out. And so it'll be a deeper emotion of, instead of just being like, angry, maybe you're actually bitter or you're frustrated. You know what I mean? And then usually in the emotion wheel, there's another layer. So there's usually like 3 different layers. There's the core layer, there's the core of the circle, one layer outside of that, and then an additional layer outside of that. So if you want to go even deeper than bitterness or frustration, maybe you're experiencing betrayal or jealousy. So it's important for you to understand your emotions, and just using this resource, which is free. Again, just look it up. There are so many images of ones that might be set up just a little bit different, but as long as they have those 6 core emotions in the middle, and then they have like at least 2 layers outside of it, you are going to be golden. But again, if you're like, I'm angry, you might actually be bitter or frustrated, or even taking it a layer deep, you might be experiencing betrayal or jealousy. So that will really help you to get to a deeper layer of understanding like what emotion that you actually have. And you can also just ask yourself, like, why are you choosing to feel this way, right? So understanding what the emotion is, and then kind of trying to take that extra step of why. Why am I feeling bitterness? Or why am I feeling frustrated in this moment? And really be honest with yourself, because if you're not honest, you're wasting your time, because you're not really going to come to any sort of conclusion that will help you to better take responsibility for your emotions, okay? So that's number 1, honor and understand what you're feeling. Number 2 is understand how your feelings affect your life. Understand how your feelings affect your life. So you might think the way you respond and react is fine, and controlling those emotions is absolutely unnecessary. You're like, there's nothing wrong. It's just the way that I'm living my life is the way that I'm living my life, and that's how I'm going to do it. And it's all fine and great if you feel okay with it. And I'm not saying that you have to take responsibility for how other people are feeling. You absolutely do not. You should not. It's just important to understand how the way that you are acting and feeling and expressing those can affect other things in your life as well that could be better, right? So, ask yourself if your emotions have caused issues in your relationships, right? Whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, maybe a relationship with someone in your family. Ask yourself if you feel like the emotions that you're expressing and the way that you're going about it has caused issues with your relationships in the past, or maybe it's current, right? Be honest. Or ask yourself if you have had difficulties at work because of the way you react. And you might be like, no, Sabrina, it's not. And I will give you a quick example that still kind of like bums me out when I think about it. But often at work, people would say that it seemed like I was, I would have my emotions on my sleeve. And so when something happened, I would react and this is at like a previous job, so not right now what I'm doing, but I would react so like big and incredibly when something frustrating happened, or when something really disappointing happened, or when something really great happened. It would just be all like bam in your face, like you know exactly how I'm feeling all the time. And that affect my work because people would sometimes be afraid to let me know something that was important for me to know because of whatever reaction that I would have. I wasn't like keeping it cool, right? So consider that. Consider if the way that you're reacting to the emotion and how you are displaying and expressing your emotions maybe will cause difficulties for you at work, because that did cause a little bit of difficulty with the people that I worked with previously. Or maybe, you feel like your emotions are so overwhelming sometimes that you lean into coping mechanisms that suppress the feelings, like these hard feelings of maybe feeling sad or disappointed or lonely or heartbroken or betrayed or whatever the emotion is. But it isn't the healthiest choice, because there are positive coping mechanisms and there are negative coping mechanisms. And obviously we want to do the positive ones, but it's a lot easier to do the negative ones, which could be things like drugs, alcohol, self-harm, things like that. So, you feel like your emotions, the way that you're feeling about something, is affecting your life so much that you have to lean into a negative coping mechanism to kind of suppress it. And so you don't have to feel like that. And you'd rather feel empty or nothing at all rather than experience those emotions that are tough for you, right? Outbursts is another one. If you find yourself just having outbursts of like anger or frustration or disappointment, or just feeling like you're being disrespected or something like that. That is another way how your feelings and your emotions are affecting your life in some ways. So just consider how your emotions are affecting your life to determine how much control these have over you, rather than you taking the control of your emotions and figuring out the best way to react and respond depending upon the situation. Because if your emotions are just like taking control and they're doing what they want to do, then they are affecting your life, maybe in more of a negative way than you actually are taking the time to realize. And you can just consider being like, well, what if I had less outbursts? Or, what if I just try to like keep my chill at work, and more people would like want to interact with me, or it wouldn't be such an awkward situation for them to share things with me that are important for me to know for work. Or maybe my friends would want to spend more time with me because I'm not constantly, saying all, I don't know, maybe like complaining all the time, or being really frustrated and yelling anytime something's not going to go my way, or anything like that. You know what I mean? So understand how your feelings affect your life. Number three is find the balance of reacting and responding. So this goes back to me talking about you want to be emotionally balanced. So just a quick understanding and recap, because I've talked about this before, but reacting with your emotions is allowing your emotions to run the show and just present however it will based on the situation. So it's like whatever's happening, whatever the first emotion up and the way that you want to react, it's just going to go. You're not even going to think about it. You're just going to let it flow out. That is a reaction. Responding is taking a moment to consider the best option for the situation. So instead of just allowing your emotions to run the show, you're going to take a moment, take a beat, and be like, wait, okay, I'm really frustrated right now, but how am I going to display that frustration? Am I just going to share that with them and not raise my voice? Am I going to yell and scream? Am I going to, put my hands on them? It's just am I going to get in a fist fight? What's going to happen? And that is responding is really trying to consider what is the best option for me here. And you need to find the balance that best works for you. And it's really going to depend on what's happening. What is the situation that you are going through? So if something that is happening is joyous, right? It's great to react with happiness and excitement. That is that's a reaction that is not necessarily controlling you. It's the proper one to just let loose. But if something unexpected happens, maybe take time to consider whether being angry right away is the best option. And if you do want to display your anger, which is totally fine and very healthy, then you have to ask yourself, how should it be displayed, right? You don't want to just again, you don't want to resort to any sort of physical violence or yelling or name calling, or are you just going to be rude and give them dirty looks or whatever the case may be? Just you want to kind of really decide, okay, how am I going to display this anger that I have? Because I want this person to know that whatever's happening, I've decided that it makes me angry, right? Another one could be if you experience something tragic, if someone dies or something really bad happens, maybe you find out about a circumstance that's, very awful and terrible. Being sad and crying is a perfectly reasonable reaction, It's not something that's going to cause any sort of issues within the situation generally or with someone else. Also, know that not responding at all, again, shouldn't be a choice. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying that you shouldn't respond and that's how you shouldn't have any emotions at all and that's how you're going to be responsible for them. No, I'm not saying that at all. You definitely need to experience them and express them. It's just a matter of finding the best way to do so, because there is literally no scenario where not expressing your emotions and sweeping those under the rug is good or helpful, and it'll cause a lot of damage for the future, I promise you. Okay, so number 4 out of 5, so second to last, don't project your feelings onto external sources. Don't project your feelings onto external sources, because it's all you, my friend. No matter what happens or who does what, you still get to choose how you feel and respond. And I know that might even feel burdensome to some people, but it's the truth. You do get to choose. And the expectation is not to be perfect in how we react or we respond. It's to make it a habit to evaluate how we do and know that the responsibility is on us. So, of course, as I already mentioned in the beginning, I mess up on this. I fail at this a lot. And there is no expectation that you need to be perfect. There are going to be times where you do react and it wasn't the best choice to make. And there's going to be times where you don't do anything and you really should have expressed some sort of emotion, right? And it's just a matter of continuing to, pick yourself back up again and try again and not give up just because you weren't able to get it right so many times in a row. Because there's no one really doing that. And if they say they are doing that, they are lying. They are straight up lying. Okay, no one's perfect. No one's got this on lock. Even people that have been doing it for years and would say that they're good 90% of the time, there's still that 10% of error and of not being perfect and just maybe just not realizing what should have happened in the moment. And that's okay, because the world isn't going to end because you reacted badly. You just have to figure out how to move forward from that situation. And it's okay. And this is especially true when someone wants to make you feel like they have control over you, right? And this could be like an instance of bullying or just manipulation. But don't take the easy way out and blame someone else or something for how you are feeling, okay? It's way better for you to just own the fact that you feel this way. And if someone else is trying to be like, oh, I know I made you feel so angry, and they feel good about that, you're like, no, you didn't make me feel angry. I decided I was angry because of this reason. Or maybe they're only seeing the surface emotion and you're like, nope, I decided that I felt betrayed because this and this happened, or you did this and this. And it's not necessarily, again, them doing it to you, because yeah, people will do things to you. Like if someone slaps you across the face, of course, you're going to be upset. You might be in pain and you're going to be upset, but it's not them causing you to be upset. You're deciding to be upset because they did something, they violated your personal space and did something that was violent and unnecessary and uncalled for. You know what I mean? So again, don't take the easy way out and blame someone else or something for how you're feeling. Just take responsibility of it and understand that you get to decide how you react and respond. Number 5, and our last one that I want to share today, it's not about what happened to you. It's about what you do next. It's not about what happened to you. It's about what you do next. So this is just me giving you a final encouragement to take back the power you have over your emotions. A lot of us feel like we lack a lot of power in our own life. And, a lot of us, including myself, struggle with control issues. But the one thing that we do have control over is ourselves and our mind and our behaviors and how we act, right? So you are in charge of yourself. You are not a victim. I'm here to tell you, you are in charge of yourself. You are not a victim. You are strong and capable of handling what is in front of you. I promise you, I know you are. Even though I have not met you, I know that you are. You are strong and capable of handling what is in front of you. And even with help, if you enlist people to help you and support you along the way, you have the power and control over what you do next. Despite the fact that people are assisting you and helping you does not mean that any of that control slips to them. It's still all you, okay? So don't let someone think like, oh, well, I get to make part decision in what you do because I'm here to help you. Absolutely not. Okay? They should be helping you for the reason of being selfless, not to get something out of the situation, okay? So even with help, you have the power and control over what you do next. And this isn't to diminish what you're experiencing. It's not me saying that you're responsible for how you react to maybe someone passing away in your presence, or someone deciding to break up with you or fire you from a job or whatever, or disown you as a friend, or whatever the case may be, right? It doesn't you taking responsibility for how you feel it's not going to diminish what's happening, the experience that you're going through. It's to keep you focused, to not give up, and to keep moving forward. You got to keep pushing. You can't give up. So knowing that you have responsibility over your emotions in that moment when that really hard thing is happening, you're like, okay, I get to decide how I feel. I get to decide how I express it. And I'm going to decide to do it this way. And I'm going to keep my eye on the prize, which is always to become my best self and to keep moving forward, persevere, and not let these struggles hold you back. You do not have to become a prisoner to your experiences and circumstances. You don't. You do not have to become a prisoner to your experiences and circumstances. So that's all I have to say on how to take responsibility for your emotions. And I really hope this has helped you to better know how to take charge of that and understand the importance of doing so. And it's not just, me being like, okay, you have to do this because it's on you. No, you have to do this because it's on you. And it's important that it's on you. And it's great that it's on you and not in someone else's hands. So thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast with me, Sabrina. Again, check the show notes below for how to say hi to me on Instagram, send an email, sign up for the newsletter, submit an anonymous venting session, submit an anonymous topic suggestion, RSVP to get more information on when the emotional planner journal is released, which will be released soon, and anything else that's down there that I have forgot to bring up. But thank you so much for listening, downloading, and sharing the show. And until next time, have a good one, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everyone.